One big thing.
Nearly 24 hours of arguing back and forth could best be summed up with one line by Charles Barkley.
I know for a fact, I'm just guessing also, really.
Chuck, we're all just guessing, really. Though it's fun how everyone can know a man's intent for a fact, lots of you seem to. Draymond Green did it on purpose. Others, though fewer of you, are just as convinced it was accidental. Here's what I know for a fact, but I'm just guessing also, really. Draymond is too clever to pretend to be obtuse. He's a guy who knows all the people in order who were chosen before him in the 2012 NBA draft. He was thought to be undersized, a little pudgy, not athletic enough to become much more than a contributing rotational player in the NBA, if that, and he uses that draft and those perceptions as his fuel. He plays with an edge, a slow burn that sometimes, maybe a lot of times, explodes. He knows he's an agitator, and he relishes the fact that he's pushing your buttons. Sure, he got his money. He's a massively important piece of a team that won a title in 73 games, but he's not about to neuter his style of play. All right, yeah, that was intentional. It was awful. Now, there's a right and a wrong. Green, though, lives in the gray. He's going to put his toes right up to whatever's out of bounds, and sometimes he's going to step over the line. Draymond had the third most T's in the league this year in the regular season and the most in the postseason thus far. He's not much for using his breaks. He's going to go and go and go. All that said, I don't think he tried to punt Steven Adams in the junk on purpose, because it makes no damn sense to do that. It is undeniably reckless, and that's what made the conversation today so interesting. Intent aside, he did it for the second time in 3 games. The fact the NBA chose not to suspend but to upgrade to a flagrant 2 is a convenient way of not suspending Green, but putting him on notice that the next mistake will earn him one. Had it been flagrant 2 in the game, as I mentioned to Kiki Vandeweghe, he would have been kicked out, and obviously he knows that rule, but he wasn't then or now, and that feels like the cop-out. The league's default could be that they can't know his intent, or to quote Chuck,
I know for a fact, I'm just guessing also, really.
But they saw intent with Dante Jones. He's a bench player and Draymond isn't, and that just fuels the fire of those who are certain that Draymond meant it, and the league wants Golden State to advance, and they're going to do anything they can to help that. I disagree with that notion, because if OKC and their 2 stars make it to the finals, neither the NBA nor their television partners, and that would be us, are taking an L. Back to Green and his minus 43 plus-minus rating for Game 3, which is the worst for a player in 20 years. There's a legitimate argument that he got the star treatment. For Golden State, he'd better play like one in Game 4.